And we've got some more ground to cover. This is about the neighborhood, and we keep an eye on Bangladesh because a lot will transpire based on how that nation behaves, its leadership behaves. Why is it that Trump's "Leave Bangladesh" to PM Modi remark has actually complicated matters for the CCP and the PLA? So the PRC, led by the CCP, they want to control Bangladesh via the debt trap. They have committed about $40 billion, about $26 to $27 billion is already invested there, and China wanted to get a vice-like grip on Bangladesh. And that's the reason why the US government also, if you were to go by what Mike Pence said, they wanted to ensure that they push the Chinese out so that this region does not get under Chinese control. Now, government sources have told CNN News18 that China is upset with both Bharat and the United States due to the arms deal between the two nations, which Beijing has termed as dangerous for the region. Another reason for China's anger is said to be US President Donald Trump's reference to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the Bangladesh issue. China's agitation stems from its huge stakes in Bangladesh, which top Indian government said are part of its broader South Asian strategy. That entire BRI initiative, and also to circumvent and become the big hegemony in this region and to control this region. Now, government sources have also added China aims to balance Bharat's dominance in South Asia by putting Bangladesh into a debt trap through investments and defense cooperation. Bangladesh is one of the fastest growing economies and a target for China to dump all its products there. Professor Brahmachalani, strategic affairs expert, is with us. Your thoughts on how things are unfolding. China is pushing its interest as a nation. America is pushing its own strategic interest as a nation. Bharat has everyone's welfare in mind along with its own progress. How do we sort this entire Bangladesh issue now?
Anand, first look at the bigger picture. For China, a US-India alliance of any kind, whether it's a soft alliance or a proper alliance, is the ultimate geopolitical nightmare. So when Modi goes to the White House and there is a warm equation between him and Trump, that unsettles Beijing. But what is unsettling Beijing the most is that since the coming of the new Trump administration, Washington is seeking to shift its strategic focus from Europe by ending the Ukraine war, shifting it from Europe to the Indo-Pacific. And as the US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said a few days ago in Brussels, that the US now wants Europe to take care of its own security so that the US prioritizes deterring war with China in the Indo-Pacific. Those were his words. So clearly, the focus of the new US administration is on China. Even these steel and aluminum tariffs that Trump has imposed on America's own allies like Canada, Japan, Mexico, and all are really directed at Beijing, because China has been dumping its steel and aluminum in countries like Canada, Japan, and others. And these countries, in turn, have been dumping their own domestically produced steel in the US market. So to stop this indirect dumping, Trump has slapped tariffs on America's own allies. But the whole game plan of Trump is to shift focus and take on China. And in that context, the fact that Trump very early on in his administration, new administration, has hosted the prime ministers of India and Japan, the two main Asian rivals of China, is really unsettling Beijing.
But with respect to Bangladesh, Bangladesh is now a lot of Chinese money invested. The US has somewhere engineered a regime change, if you were to rely on what Mike Pence has claimed and what Mohammad Yunus himself has gone ahead and said on US shores. Where does Bharat stand here? Now, do we need a democratic pro-China leader there? Do we need a democratic pro-US leader there? Or do we need someone who has their own mind and function and faculty and works well with Bharat there? How does this work now going forward?
Anand, Bangladesh is sliding into jihadist chaos. this will have direct implications for India's internal security because India surrounds Bangladesh from three sides, and Bangladesh's borders are very porous. India is already home to millions of illegally settled Bangladeshis. For America and for China, Bangladesh is a distant object that they can play games there. The Americans did the regime change. There's no doubt about that. In fact, the Biden administration was shielding and propping up this undemocratic regime that has been installed by the military led by Mohammed Yunus. And China has been quoting the same regime. In fact, China knows that the power behind the throne in Bangladesh today, besides the army, is the Jamaat-e-Islami and its youth wing. And so it invited the top Islamist leaders from Bangladesh a few weeks ago, and its ambassador in Dhaka has been publicly meeting with Islamist leaders. So it clearly shows that China is seeking to build an alliance with unsavory elements in Bangladesh to advance its interests. Now, where does the Trump administration stand is the big puzzle, because as you know that Trump in the joint news conference with Modi flatly denied U.S. deep state involvement in Bangladesh. Of course, you know, it would have been difficult for him to say that the U.S. deep state was involved in Bangladesh, but we will be watching very carefully.
Yes, we will. We will. Professor Brahmacharani,
US government policy.
I have to interrupt you here, sir. We've run out of time here on this edition of the Right Stand. We'll take this conversation forward very soon. Winding up, brass tacks with Zaka after the break. Stay with us.